Food waste is a problem in much of the Western world, and Canada is no exception. Tons of groceries, leftovers, and plenty of perfectly good food goes into the garbage or the organics bin every year, sometimes simply because it's past its best before date. That's costly for people and the planet. Can we do better at distinguishing between what's good and what's garbage? Here to help us with that, Brita Ball. She's a food safety consultant with her own company called Transcendent Initiatives. And Josh Dominguez is here. He's CEO of Flashfood, a startup that's trying to address the food waste problem. Good to see both of you here in those chairs. Josh, you've been here before. Nice to see you again. Let's just put this information up on the graphic, shall we please, Sheldon, to get started. Some information about food waste from the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, namely that roughly a third of food produced for human consumption around the world is wasted, a third. And produce, as you might expect, has the highest wastage rates. Let's get into this. Josh, why?
So initially people are going to go directly to why doesn't all that food get donated? And the challenges are who picks it up, who drops it off, who pays the price, and who guarantees the safety. I met with executives at a large Canadian grocer. This would have been maybe like 12, 16 months ago now. And one of the things that they said was, listen, we donate all this food, we pay for it to get to the food bank, and then we show up at the food bank a week later and it's sitting on their shelves rotting because they haven't gotten it out in time. And it's not the food bank's fault, it's not the grocer's fault, and it's not consumers' fault either, because when we go shopping and let's say there's one watermelon left, we associate that last watermelon with the worst watermelon available. So because of that, we won't buy it typically, retail 101. And it forces the grocers to have to stock the shelves so that us as consumers get to pick from what we think is the best watermelon.
So a lot of the wastage actually doesn't happen in home because you bought something and you left it in the fridge and forgot about it for 3 weeks. It's actually at the supermarket.
So that's actually incorrect. Most of the wastage happens at home.
It does, okay.
But I'm speaking specifically in this example to the supermarket vertical because that's kind of my background.
Got it. Brita, when you buy something from the supermarket, it usually has a best before date on it. How do they come up with that?
The best before date actually applies to foods that are prepackaged that have a shelf life, a durable life is the proper terminology, of 90 days or less. And so every product except fruits and vegetables need to have a best before date.
That's strange that you say except fruits and vegetables, because of course that's the stuff that's going to go bad faster than the stuff that's in a package.
Well, and I can't comment on why the legislation was written as it was, but those are the rules for the labeling laws. And so what we have fruits and vegetables. Of course, if you've got fruits and vegetables on the shelves, then you know that some of them are going to last longer than others just because of the nature of different types of fruits and vegetables. So some leafy greens aren't going to last as long as apples.
Right.
Right. Those kinds of things. And so I as I said, I don't know why there is a difference, but that's the legislation.
And I guess we need to know, is this more, when you're trying to pick a best before date, is this more art or more science?
There's a lot of science in making declaration about that best before date. So the best before date, just to be clear, is not about safety. It's about quality. It's about taste. It's about freshness. It's about nutritional quality. It's about whatever claims or some other claims that the manufacturer might have wanted to make. So vitamin C, for example, is a vitamin that will decrease over time because of oxygen. And if a company says on the label that it contains so much vitamin C, they'll do some calculations, they'll do some figuring, and based on what the product is and what the shelf life, the expected shelf life they want to have, and the storage conditions, because the storage conditions make a huge difference in the rate at which that product will.
Okay, but to be clear, that if the vitamin C bottle has an expiry date of, say, January 31st, 2018, that doesn't mean, I hear you saying, you have to throw it out on January 31st, 2018.
Well, I'm not specifically talking about vitamin bottles because that's different from food. So if there's vitamin C added to, let's say, apple juice, and and the manufacturer said there's this much vitamin C in the apple juice, they have to put in more than that amount in order for there to be that amount at the best before date.
Okay, so when you're dealing with the food that you're trying to get, you know, actually we should take a second here about your app. What are you trying to do with this new app that you've got out?
So specifically right now for grocers, as food's nearing its best before date, typically 3 days before the best before date, they're throwing out food because they have more coming in. So instead of throwing it out, they bring it over to the Flashfood fridge in the store, they take a picture of the food, mark the price down anywhere from 30, 50%, and then we send a notification out to our users in the area. They can pay for the food through the app, the Flashfood app, go to the store, pick it up, and then check out like they regularly would with any other food items.
But what I've just heard is that, again, we'll pick this date out of thin air for no particular reason.
Yeah.
If you've got a head of lettuce on the shelf there, where the best before date is January 31st, you can still eat it after January 31st, right?
So yes, all of the food that gets sold through us is before the best before date. There's very few retailers in Canada, none, that are selling food past the best before date. And I actually have a whole different theory on best before dates. They are not a health and safety hazard for the most part. They're just a freshness quality qualifier. And for the most part, it was started by Marks and Spencer's in the 50s in a showroom, which is a grocery chain out of the UK, and then became normalized in grocery in the 70s. But as you dig more and more into this, it's very hard to come up with real science behind why salt has a best before date of date X or why rice has a best before date of date Y.
Well, that's why I asked if it's more art than science, because you know, if part of this is marketing or part of this is, you know, giving the consumer an impression that there's a deadline by which you have to buy something, that's very different from hard science, isn't it?
And that's my belief, is that's exactly what it is, and it's all these CPG companies and grocery companies
CPG is what?
Consumer packaged goods companies. Okay. So the companies that are providing mac and cheese, that are shelf life products that will basically last forever, and I'm not a scientist by any means, but they have to keep selling these products to the grocers. And so from a business perspective, if you have a product that lasts forever, it's not actually beneficial to your company to sell it into grocery, because consumers can buy it whenever if it's going to be.
You know what I learned on this program once upon a time? Twinkies last forever. Yeah. You can have a Twinkie in that package and it will last forever.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you should eat it, but it will last forever. There's a bit of controversy, I gather, over whether we want to use the expression a best before date or an expiry date, because you hear that as well. Does food actually expire in the same way a best before date would suggest?
So there are, as I said before, there's a best before date, and that must be applied on a label for products that have a durable life of 90 days or less, like meats and dairy products and things like that basically will spoil within 90 days. You know, eggs. I mean, you can bake it. I could create a list, and except for fruits and vegetables, as I mentioned. But expiry dates apply to a very narrow range of products, and those are essentially meal replacement types of foods or nutritional supplements. So infant formulas, where the vitamin content really matters. The not best before dates. So infant formulas, meal replacements, meal replacement bars, meal replacement powders that people might be using because it's the only source of nutrition they have, especially particularly elderly people like that. Nutritional supplements also have expiry dates, and then there are some foods that most people wouldn't know about, and these are foods that are specific foods that for very low energy diets that are prescribed by a doctor, or liquid diets that are for people who have to be fed by a feeding tube. So a very narrow range of foods have an expiry date.
So just to be clear, Josh, if I buy that carton of milk and it says the date on it, Jan 31, 2018, you can still drink it on February 3rd or 4th because it hasn't expired. It's just best before Jan 31, is that right?
Exactly. The freshness and the quality of that milk is highest before January 31st. And what the manufacturer or the milk company is telling you is that after January 31st, it's probably not going to be as fresh as before. But like what Brita said, these are not expiry dates. These are best before dates, and there is a such thing as an expiry date and a best before date, but they're completely different things.
They're different things. Are there some foods that you would be more cautious about eating best before as opposed to maybe letting that slack a little bit?
So I'm kind of like the layman's person when it comes to this. I really got into this maybe 2.5 years ago and have just read as much as I can. And my habits and kind of the habits of the community that we have now we've built around Flashfood is we've got people that are going to the grocery store buying the prepared meals in a grocery store. So essentially like leftovers, like you take the mac and cheese and you try and sell it, it doesn't get sold, they put it through Flashfood. And we've got a family in London, Ontario that is almost exclusively shopping food that they're feeding to their family after the best before date. And it's things like prepared chicken, rice, vegetables that you can just heat up in the microwave and have. For me personally, all kinds of stuff. Like my fiance and I don't even really look at best before dates anymore. We're smelling the milk, we're pouring the milk, seeing if it's clumpy or not, smelling the fish, touching meat. If it's not slimy, then it's okay for the most part. But there's not a lot of education on this on the internet, which is where I source a lot of the info that I'm learning from.
Well, I should get you on this as well. I mean, he says, never mind the date. If it looks okay and it smells okay and it feels okay, it's okay. Is that right?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay, yeah.
So with foods, first of all, no one is permitted to sell food that is unsafe. So we have to assume that the food on the grocery store shelves is safe. We also know that, I mean, there's been a recent outbreak of E. coli associated with romaine lettuce in Canada, and so we know that sometimes, even though the food is expected to be safe, sometimes it is not safe. But that romaine lettuce looked good. People were eating romaine lettuce thinking that it was looking good. It had not spoiled. So just because food is fresh, might taste good, doesn't mean it's safe. And just because food is spoiled and doesn't taste quite as good as it would have last week, doesn't mean that it's unsafe.
Unsafe, right. Okay, interesting. You're going to have to change your eating habits now on having heard that?
I'm basically just gambling every time I have a meal now. But no, you're absolutely right. Like it's not, there's no black and white, it's not binary. But I can say that like best before dates are quality measures as opposed to health and safety measures. Okay.
That's exactly it.
Can you, Brita, explain this to me? Because how does E. coli break out on, you say lettuce, romaine lettuce?
Romaine lettuce.
How does that happen?
Well, romaine lettuce is grown in dirt, in soil. Okay, some people would call it dirt, but it's soil that has nutrients for the lettuce, and plant the seed, the lettuce will grow. And there may be wind and other things, there may be animals going by. Basically, E. coli comes from animal feces.
Well, I was going to say,
somehow or other,
E. coli is the first syllable of the word that Donald Trump used the other day to describe various countries around the world, right? Isn't that basically what E. coli is?
Well, it's the E. coli there are a whole bunch of E. coli, Escherichia coli organisms, and a few specific ones are dangerous.
Okay.
So the one that was on the romaine lettuce was one of those specific ones that was dangerous.
And you think it got there how?
We don't know. It could have been at the farm, but it might have been somewhere along the chain to the groceries, to the packing house where it was packed, or to the grocery store, or wherever they got the lettuce. We're not really sure. The investigators that investigate, the government people that investigate foodborne illness outbreaks, try to find the source. They haven't identified the source of the contamination. So as I said, it might have come from the soil. And so when you've got romaine lettuce and it's nice and leafy, then ideally you would take the outside leaves off, but that's not necessarily where the soil might have been or where it might be contaminated.
Now, similarly, in the States, I think there was a recent example of leafy greens lettuce having an E. coli problem as well. Now, would that be the same thing as the circumstance we just described?
Well, yes, possibly. We're not really sure. It appears that more recently they looked at the genes of the two different organisms, and they could be from the same source. But there's not a guarantee of that. There's more information but both the CDC in USA and Public Health Agency of Canada need to have in order to make that link. So they hadn't made the link yet.
Okay. Josh, we've already established that your eating habits are terrible, so let's follow up with you on this one. Can you tell if the produce you eat is contaminated with E. coli?
No.
You can't tell?
No.
Can anybody tell, Brita?
Not unless I do tests in a laboratory.
You got to do, well, okay, and most shoppers, I think, are not really up to that.
That's correct.
Or you get E. coli.
Or you get the disease.
Yeah,
that's the other way to find out. Are there any foods in particular, lettuce you've mentioned, that are susceptible to getting E. coli?
Well, E. coli is just one of the organisms. There are a number of different pathogens, and so we don't want to just focus on E. coli. We want to focus on the pathogens in general. And so leafy greens, as an example, are a higher risk food. Most people wouldn't think of that. You think lettuce is really healthy. I'm going to eat those leafy greens. Spinach is really good for you. All those things, they are absolutely really good for you, but sometimes they have a contamination.
If you wash it really well, does it come off?
Not necessarily, because of the way that the leaves are and what they are. If you look at the microscope, there are actually little holes in them, and some E. coli can get inside.
Okay.
So,
note to self here: replace lettuce with chocolate chip cookies in my diet, because you don't get E. coli from eating chocolate chip cookies, do you? You just get fat.
That's right. So,
okay.
So I used to answer phones for a Cross Canada Food Safety Information Service, and one woman asked me one time, "So what can I do to eliminate the risk of foodborne illness?" And I answered in all certainty and seriousness was stop eating. So, you're going to have other problems, but if you want to reduce the risk, absolutely stop eating.
Stop eating. Okay.
Not a good option.
Since that's not on, Josh, tell us about the app and how well it is working so far in matching the food that is close to its best before date to those who want a cheaper option.
So right now we're partnered in Toronto and Brampton with Longo's and in London, Ontario with Farm Boy. And we're selling just over 50% of all the food that's been made available through our platform that would have otherwise been thrown out. And then in addition to that, even deeper, we're going up and down the value chain now. So one of the things that we're providing is we've gone to farmers and we've said, what produce do you have that doesn't even make it to the grocer because it's aesthetically not even good looking enough?
But it's okay to eat.
Perfectly okay to eat with the same shelf life as the stuff in the grocery store. And so we're now coming up with a way to get that direct to consumer in addition to what we're partnering with the grocers. But from a business perspective with the grocery store, we're making food 30 to 40% more affordable for consumers. We're driving in net new customers to the store that are spending more money while they're in store. And then we're reducing the food waste of that grocer and also helping them optimize products that should be sold and shouldn't be sold. So for example, one of our grocery partners made available tuna salad sandwiches on white bread 38 times at a 50% markdown, and it didn't get bought once.
Why do you think?
Because people don't want tuna salad sandwiches on bread under any circumstance, I guess. So we went back to them and said, listen, you guys are spending a lot of labor, a lot of resources on putting these sandwiches together. I don't think people want it. And they actually reduced that product, and it reduced the amount of food waste that they're generating.
You got a guess at the dollar value of food you're moving nowadays?
Yeah, on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, like we're selling anywhere from sometimes $250 per store a day to up to $500 worth per store per day.
So this obviously is never mind it's a potential business opportunity for you, but I presume you think you're helping with a societal problem here as well.
We want to get to the point where we can build a sustainable business and then we can create a give back portion, which we already have done in the app, and we're waiting to launch it when we scale. But instead of us donating to different charities, which is great, but you can donate through the app and it fills up into the account of somebody who couldn't afford food as credits, and they can now shop through Flashfood just like anybody else.
So in our last 30 seconds here, if you want to download the app to your smartphone, what is it?
Flashfood, it's on the App Store, it's on the Google Play Store. We're in 3 stores with Longo's in Toronto and Brampton, and we're in London, Ontario with Farm Boy.
And as you look 5 and 10 years down the road, where do you want to see it be at?
We'll be across Canada and across the States. We're launching in Vancouver next week with a pilot program and then hope to scale there in a few weeks. But yeah, we'll be international solving this problem across the value chain.
And chocolate chip cookies, of course, high on the hierarchy of things to eat.
Even past the best before date, you're still okay with those.
I know that much. I know that much because that's the way it works in my place. Good of both of you to join us on TVO tonight. We learned a lot tonight. At Brita Ball, the food safety consultant with a really transcendent name for your business. Transcendent Initiatives is the name of that. And Josh Dominguez is the CEO of Flashfood. And as you heard, you can download the app and get on board. Brita, Josh, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
The Agenda with Steve Bacon is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, helping businesses stay on the right side of change with strategic thinking, insightful decisions, and business leadership. Are you on the right side of change? Ask an Ontario CPA.